Sergeant Detective Jamie Berger.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. As you were told, my name is Jamie Berger. I'm a detective sergeant with the Wayland Police. I've been here in Wayland. I grew up here in Wayland, and I've been with the police department altogether for about 27 years, 22 years as a full-time police officer. And I'm going to talk to you about some scams and fraud that certainly affects mostly seniors in our communities nowadays, okay? So what is fraud? So can everybody hear me, first of all? Can everybody see the board? Okay, so I don't have my glasses on, so it's kind of hard for me to see. We might not have the same prescription, but, and I want to apologize, I'm not as pretty or as young as the firefighter that was here, so you're stuck with me. So what is fraud? It's the wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in a financial or personal gain. In deceit, the action or practice of deceiving someone by concealing or misrepresenting the truth. Trickery is the practice of deception, and deception is the act of deceiving someone. So when we read those, they're kind of going in circles, aren't they? They're all talking about deception and trying to defraud somebody and take some things that aren't theirs. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about fraud, especially with seniors and people that are targeting seniors in our communities. They're trying to take things away from you that you've worked your whole life to gain. So when we talk about fraud prevention, there are some things that you can do to help minimize your abilities to be a victim of fraud. So when we carry wallets, our credit cards, our IDs are usually in them, or your purses, they're usually in there. So in my wallet, I have my, my Social Security card, I have my license, I have my credit cards, I have, lots of things that people obviously would want. And when you do that, we open ourselves up to being a little bit vulnerable. But everyday use of our credit cards or our bank cards and our license, if you get pulled over every day, by the police, you always have your license handy, right? So if you're applying for a loan, or if you're getting a credit card, or if you're going to Target to use, buy things, people really don't carry a lot of cash anymore in their pockets. They carry their credit card or their bank card, and that has all their information. Typically, with your wallet, you would carry your ID, maybe your Social Security card, things like that. So some of the things that you can try to reduce on that is, don't carry all those things with you. Like if you're going to Target, you maybe have your purse and you have one credit card instead of 4, and leave the other 3 at home in a safe place. Things like that, things that you could do to reduce your vulnerability of being a victim here. So does everybody have PIN numbers? You have a credit card or an ATM card, everybody's got PIN numbers now. So when you go to the bank and you take money out of using the ATM, you have your PIN number, you punch in the machine. Well, a good way to reduce some aspects of that of being vulnerable is to not have your PIN number written down and put in your wallet or your purse. And I know as I get a little older, I'm starting to forget things. So sometimes I don't remember a lot of things. And the PIN number is a very important number, especially around your credit cards and your bank cards, because we don't typically, if we have one PIN number, it's usually good for all of our cards. So my bank card might have the same one as my credit card PIN number and that type of thing. So you want to reduce that. And if you are using your PIN number, don't write your PIN number down anywhere. If you want to write it down and keep it at home in a safe place, maybe a safe or something like that, that's fine. But you don't want to keep your PIN number in your wallet or your purse as well, because if someone was able to steal your purse and they have your PIN number and your credit card or your ATM card, they're going to go to that bank's ATM and try to use your PIN number and see if they can get money out of the ATM. Oh, actually, one back, sorry. So know what's in your wallet or your purse. So when you get a new credit card, take a photocopy of it. Does everybody have a phone here, like a smartphone, like an iPhone? No? No? Okay, a lot of people don't. Old-fashioned, so that's great too. Flip phones, does everybody have a cell phone here? No, most do, but, so what we want to do is, we kind of want to record what's in our wallets. Because when we get bills, well, I should say, when I get a bill at the end of the month with my credit card statement, I pay it, and then I rip it up and throw it out. Or I shred it and throw it out. So, if my wallet were to get stolen, how am I gonna know which credit card to get in touch with? I won't. I mean, I know kind of like I have, you know, a Capital One account, or I have, you know, Amex account, but I don't know is my account number off the top of my head. And if I don't have my bills, and I call in, they're gonna give me a hard time, and how am I gonna report that as a stolen credit card? So what you might wanna do is, your credit cards, your bank cards, or things like that, Social Security, things that are important to you, photocopy the card, so you have the card number, the front and back of the card, and put those in a safe place, so that if anything were to happen to your cards, you can call the credit card company or the bank company and give them all the information of what was stolen, the card number and that type of thing, so that you have readily, easily accessible to making those phone calls done. Your license and your insurance. Has anybody lost their license ever in their life? Nobody? You have? Was it easy to get a new one? No. So you have to have multiple forms of ID, right? And the registry, if you don't have those multiple forms of ID, you go to the registry, you wait for 2 hours, and then you get up to the front of the line, and they tell you you need A, B, and C, and then you go home without your license. So you need to be prepared. So you need to make sure that what you have in your wallet and your purse is kept in a safe spot. And if you don't have those things, then it makes it tougher to get on and get a new license, so to speak, and things like that. Write down your account numbers or store copies of them in a secure place in the home. Does anybody have safes in their home? I do. So in my safe, I have important papers like credit cards, information like that, and other important safe things that I want to keep somewhere. If there were a fire, if my house is burglarized, something like that, I would keep all my safe things in there. Okay. So nowadays, technology is really something. They make credit cards with your face right on them. So you could actually get your face, as long as it's a good picture, not like me, and put it right on the copy, right on the front of your credit card. So that way, when you present your card, the employee can actually look to verify that, oh, this is Jamie Berger, and it's my picture. And on the back, there's always, back in, years ago, people had to verify that your signature was on the back of the card, matched the signature you would actually write in a store. Merchants don't do that anymore. So when you go and present your card and you slide it into the machine, because of the new safety mechanisms that our credit cards have, when you slide it in, that verifies that the card is good. So, and you might not be Jamie Berger, I might give you my card, or my son might use my card and go to the store and buy something. It's not verifying who he is, but it's verifying that the card is still good. So when you do that, it's important to write on the back, because some merchants actually do look at the back still. And I've always written CID. So that means when the merchant looks at the back, it says CID, they're looking for a license. So they're going to match that license to the card, the name, and to your picture.
But then your son can't use it.
Then my son can't. That's a good thing too, though. So what happens when someone actually steals your credit cards and uses them? So what should you do? So you want to contact, say my credit card got stolen, my wallet got stolen here, and I don't know who stole it, but I need to notify the credit card company. I have also, your medical card. You want to call your insurance company and let them know my wallet was stolen, my purse was stolen, and in that were numerous items, including your medical card. As far in the registry as well, obviously they're difficult to deal with sometimes. So you're going to need your passport, your birth certificate, another ID, something like that, to go there and get an actual new license. Go So, when we talk about senior scams, these are extremely prevalent in our community. Not just here in Wayland, all across the country. Daily, the Wayland Police Department receives calls about scams attempting to be perpetrated upon our residents. So some of the major scams that are out there at the moment, and these don't really change much per se, but they can change a little bit in meaning the way they're perpetrated, not necessarily the scam itself, but how they're done. So one of the scams, the first one is the IRS scam. So has anybody ever gotten a phone call from the real IRS? Nobody raised their hand. That's good, because the IRS will never, ever call you. Has anybody ever gotten a letter from them? Right, I have too. And I don't like opening it either. So, but the IRS will never call you and say you owe back taxes. And then to do so, you need to pay X amount of money. They're gonna send you a letter, and they're gonna say you owe taxes, or there's an issue with your taxes from 5 years ago, get ready for an audit, but they're not going to call you. Another one is, does anybody have grandchildren in here? Most of you do. I don't, thankfully. My son's only 17. So, and I've given him that speech. So your grandchild calls you. Your grandchild calls you and says, I messed up. I'm away. I'm in Puerto Rico or I'm in Aruba, and I got in an accident and I'm in jail, and you need to send me money right away. Can you send $5,000? Wire it. Can you go down to Western Union and wire $5,000 right now? And so, as good grandparents or parents, we're going to try to help our grandchildren out. And that is what these people prey upon. So, and you may not talk to your grandchildren every day either. It might go a week or 2 weeks. I know my son, he'll call my father, his grandfather, every couple of weeks, check in, see how he's doing, things like that. So it's not a constant, everyday basis. Like if my son were to call me, and if it was an imposter saying it was my son, I would know immediately because I talk to him every day. So, and they prey upon that, and they know that the grandchildren don't talk to their grandparents every day, so there might be a little miscommunication there and be able to try to make a scam happen. So, yep.
I had a scam like that, and they called and they said my grandson had been in trouble and blah,
Yep.
blah, blah.
Yep.
So I caught them right in the bud.
Yep.
Said, I don't have any grandsons, I have
Perfect.
grandchildren.
Yep, and that's a great example. But that's them just trying to try. And so what we do as a society, we're obviously trying to help our kin out. And they prey upon that.
And the last one, sweepstakes lottery.
Yep.
I just had one call.
Yep, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
So fundraisers for local law enforcement. Who doesn't like the police in here? Great. Nobody's hand went up. I like it. So, every once in a while, fire departments or police departments send out into the community and do fundraisers for, things that they do. Now, there are a lot of scams out there that, because people do like the police and fire in our communities, especially our senior citizens, because we have such a good relationship with them, is that they target seniors in our community. They said, oh, the Wayland Police Department's having a fundraiser, would you care to give? Well, the Wayland Police Department wouldn't do that. So, just be cautious when you do that. There are a lot of organizations that try to portray themselves as being law enforcement or fire department friendly. And if that's going to happen, especially in a smaller community like Wayland, the Wayland Police and Fire will contact you, or we'll send out an email or a letter, or call you personally and let you know that we're having a fundraiser, or it'll be in the press. It'll be in Wayland E-News or the Town Crier or the Metro West Daily News. So we will let you certainly know. Yes.
Well, I just had that yesterday, but they didn't say Wayland, and they've been calling a lot.
Yep.
They make it a big general for
Mhm.
the whole state.
Yep. Exactly.
They're calling all the time.
Yep. And if you don't, you say, listen, I give
Yeah.
to our local
Our
community,
gate.
if that's what you wanted to do. So tech support for your home computers. That's a big one. Does everybody have computers in here? I have a few. So here's another one. Microsoft will never call you.
Oh, yeah.
They'll never call you saying your software's out of date. We need to upgrade it. It's not going to happen. If your software's out of date, you might have something pop up in your computer and let you know that it's out of date, but they will never call you to say, hey, your Microsoft network is out of date, and we need to update that. And by doing so, we want money.
They say we're disabling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, okay.
Pay up right away.
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? Those people that commit those frauds are looking for you to feel pressured. They want you to make that quick decision. Because although we might not all be tech savvy, we certainly know somebody that is. And if I said the story, oh, Microsoft Network called me and they want me to upgrade for, $500. If I said that to my son would be like, Dad, really? But we don't know. When we get a little older, we don't remember everything like that. So it's important, especially to have, as far as technology changes so quickly, it's important to have somebody to rely on. But again, remember that these companies will not call you. I've had computers for years and years and years, and I've never gotten a phone call from Microsoft saying, you need to update your software. Yes.
I had a worse situation only this week. All of a sudden, my computer started bells ringing, big things for us. We don't touch this, just call this number.
Yep.
So, I communicated with very essential. I called the number, and the guy said, do this. Suddenly, the voice sounded familiar, and I've had a lot of attempts to scam through. It sounds like the same people that come
Yep.
from, wherever they come from. So,
India.
I said, do you want to get into my computer? And I said, yes. I said, okay, give me your number, I'll call you back.
Yep.
And they said, well, we'll call you back. I said, fine. I called up my computer company and asked them, and they said, nothing to do with them.
Right.
They said, pull out your power cord,
Yep.
let it recycle, and stick it back in the leave it. And that's what happened. And we do it.
Yep. And that, that's a great example of a scam, that someone's trying to actually gain remote access to your computer.
Right.
So we have had that in the past here in town, and so there are legitimate reasons for companies to remote access. Does everybody understand when I say remote access?
Right.
So you give them the opportunity to look into your computer and have access into your computer, your files, whatever you've done on your computer, they're able to see that. So there are legitimate remote access reasons for allowing a company to do that. For instance, I went and got a new phone. They were unable to make the new phone work or get going like it should have, like by email, things like that. So I granted the phone company remote access into my phone, into my login in the computer, to allow me to get going on my phone. That is a legitimate reason. Okay, but just say you get a phone call out of the blue from Microsoft Network saying, oh, there's a problem with your software. We want to get access into your computer. Hit control this, control that, and you're listening to them, and you're doing it, and you're giving them remote access. Microsoft Network, again, is not going to call you. They are not going to ask you for remote access, typically. And if you are to call them, that's one way of getting around, because you don't want somebody to call you and say, oh, here you go, here's my computer.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to control that. Yes?
You mentioned about the tech support on the phone.
No.
Has there been anything come up with that coming up, a scam on your computer, the tech support?
Yeah, so that's a big one. Like, you'll get an email. There's certain like phishing emails. So you send out these mass emails out to everybody. And you know what? If you throw a line out and you catch one fish out of 100, that's a win, right?
Yeah.
For them, at least. So they cast a very wide net, and if one or two people bite on it and allow them access and things like that, the tech support is not Here's a good rule to go by. Anybody that calls me from a number I don't know, I don't answer. Anybody that sends me an email that I don't know, I delete. If it was something important, they'll send it again. So that's how I do it. So, I mean,
But you haven't stated the whole of it. There are calls now coming in saying that we've already charged your account $2,000 for this upgrade.
Yeah.
And if you disagree with it, you have to call such and such a number.
yeah. Well, again, I would check your card first and see if anything's been charged. So whenever you have a question, if someone says, oh, I've charged your account, or I'm going to charge your account, you, as the card holder of that bank's card, can call them and say, hey, or dispute a charge. If you don't agree with a charge that was put on your card, you can call your bank and dispute that charge. Or if they call you and said, I put $2,000 in your card, and if you disagree with it, you call us. No, that's not how things work. This is the United States, and, if someone puts something on your card on purpose, that it's fraud, stealing, and you certainly can dispute that. Yes?
The caller ID on your phone is a
Oh.
good thing too, like you just said, you don't answer it if you don't know the
Yeah.
number. And in a lot of cases, they won't call again because they don't know if it's a working phone if somebody hasn't picked it up.
Right, exactly. So the reason why I don't answer phone calls from numbers I don't know is because if you answer it, they can mark it off that someone actually answered the phone. And if it gets sent to a voicemail, then they won't call again. Yes?
One thing they're doing too that is really deceiving is that you get a call and it's a 508-358 number.
Yeah,
And you say, my God, it's one of my neighbors or
Yeah.
something. And it's a steal.
we're gonna get right to that.
You got it.
So the last one is a sweepstakes lottery winner, okay? Has anybody won the lottery in here?
No.
No?
But I told you.
Right.
When I got a phone call yesterday morning.
I've never won a lot of money, so I like to go to the casino once in a while, and now here and there I might play a scratch ticket, but I've never gotten a phone call saying I hit the lottery.
Yeah, Publisher Clearinghouse called me
Yeah.
yesterday. It was a scam. So I wrote their numbers and everything else, then I called Publisher Clearinghouse
Yeah.
and gave them the numbers.
Yep. So what happens is these people call you and say, you won the lottery, you won $10 million. Send us $1,000 and we'll send you the money.
Yeah.
But that happens all the time. Someone, you won,
2.5.
yeah, 2.5 million. It's just, there's some fees to it. If you send us the fees overnight, we'll get you the money this week. It's all about pressure, putting pressure on you, thinking that you won and this is your money. All I have to do is send them $500 and they're gonna give me 2.5 million? Sounds like a great deal.
Yeah, but the thing is, with Publisher Clearinghouse, they will come to your house personally.
With a big check.
With a big check.
And balloons.
Yeah, and the balloons,
Yes.
that's right, the girls are.
I'm still waiting. They don't come to my house. They're
Yeah, the
never
balloons
there.
are flying up in the sky right now.
Send in, spend
Yeah.
out 50 cents
Yeah,
for the.
they still don't come to my house. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
Don't you wonder, Joan, how come sometimes everybody is always home? They could come to my house any day and never find anybody and come to the door.
Don't say after too many people.
All right, so what does the Wayland Police Department do to help prevent our seniors in our community from becoming victims of crime? So in all the banks, all like the stores that sell green dot cards and like vanilla gift cards, and say like CVS or something like that, they have these like quick cards where you can put like money on for your grandchildren at, holiday time. Here's $50 gift card, grandson or what have you. They have all these stores in our community, the Honey Farms or the convenience stores. They all have these, I call them, what they call vanilla gift cards, or Visa gift cards, things like that. But what happens is, we have these cards at each of those. So if you go to the Middlesex Savings Bank and you say to them, I want to wire some money, we've worked with them long enough, and I think we have a great relationship with the banks in our community, that if they hear that, say, I want to wire money, and see if it's a senior in our community, their ears are gonna perk up and they're gonna talk to you a little bit. And not only that, well, I hope they call us. So we have worked with CVS, who's been great here in town. We've had people that have gone in there and said, you know, I need to get these green dot cards and I need to get $1,000 worth. CVS has worked with us before. They've spoken with the seniors in our community and stopped, you know, seniors from becoming victims of fraud and crime like that. So these cards are, if you go to the Middlesex Savings Bank, please look for them. If you don't see them there, call me, let me know, because I'll make sure they get more. So these are all different, these are all different scams. The arrested relative, you know, we got that call about, you know, my son's in Aruba, or my grandson's in Aruba, he got in a car accident, or he had marijuana on him, and he got in trouble, and you need to send $5,000 today. Right now, wire it away. Sweepstakes, IRS imposters, and the tech support. Any of those things come up, your ears should go up and at them. Like, these are scams, all of them. So, if you don't see this, you go to the Middlesex Savings Bank, or you go to Bank of America, or whatever banking establishment you have here in Wayland, and you go in and you don't see that, you can call me, and I will make sure they get more. Okay. So. So this is an actual scam call that I received.
I should have taken mine yesterday.
A notification regarding your tax filings from the headquarters, which will get expired in next 24 working hours. And once it gets expired, after that you will be taken under custody by the local cops. If there are 4 serious allegations pressed on your name at this moment, we would request you to get back to us so that we can discuss about this case before taking any legal action against you. The number to reach us is 818-806-7856. I repeat, 818-806-7856. Thank you.
At least they're polite at the end, right?
Did you call the number?
I didn't, no, but,
Did the cops come?
yeah. Unfortunately, they're always at my house. So, again, so when you receive that phone call, the local cops typically don't call each other cops. We call a lot of things, but cops, you know, police officer, you know, you could just tell that is a scam. Like, we're not gonna leave a message, the cops are gonna come after you. It's not gonna happen, okay? But at least, again, they were polite at the end. They said thank you. So just to recap on some of the scams, the IRS is never, ever, ever, ever gonna call you. They're gonna send you that letter, and then when you get that letter, you're gonna be, oh my God, what am I doing?
Circular file.
Yeah.
Town jump.
So never allow, you know, untrusted individuals to remote access into your computers. Okay, so make sure that you know them, or it's a legitimate company, or you called them. And make sure it's the actual business that you're looking to contact.
Before you wrap up, there's one thing you haven't mentioned, and that is...
I still have another hour to go.
Crooked banks.
Yeah.
Not all banks are honest. And Avidia happens to be a criminal in this regard. A very good friend of mine just recently got ripped off by taking a CD, by buying a CD that supposedly was the normal rules for a CD.
Yeah.
And then when it automatically renewed, all of a sudden the rule changed to if you cash it early, you have to pay back all the interest for the entire period, and that takes it out. That completely blows the whole thing.
Huh. Yep.
That's a video bank, just in
Okay.
case anybody's involved in that.
Yes.
I guess I can say I'm a victim of the untrusted remote access. This happened about a month ago, and I lost a very large sum of money. Don't trust these so-called companies that call you and say, we want to fix your computer and put all kinds of nice software in it to make it run better. Don't do it, believe me, because you're going to lose a huge amount of money. And working with Sergeant Berger here, we're still working on this investigation. It's the real thing, people. Don't do it. And another thing, Social Security will never call you either.
Yes.
Especially at 7:30 at night. They don't even have social
They
security.
close at 7 o'clock at night, so they won't call you after 7 o'clock. If somebody says they're Social Security, that's not the real deal.
So police officers are not going to come arrest you if you don't pay the IRS. That's just not what we do. So if you owe money to the IRS, you'll deal with the IRS. The IRS does have criminal investigators who work on the criminal side of things. So if you're, I don't want to get into this, but if you're committing fraud and the IRS is investigating, you may get arrested there. But the IRS Wayland Police Department is not going to come to your house because you didn't pay your taxes. Just so we're all clear. And if you win the lottery, you don't have to pay them to get your money. So, you don't have to pay them anything. They just want your picture with a big check and everybody smiling.
And the balloons.
And the balloons, yep. So, and be guarded. This is your hard-earned money. You have had a long life. You've worked hard. You're where you are. It's your money. Be guarded. You don't have to just give it to anybody. It's your money, okay? So identity theft is another type of crime. So that's the illegal use of someone else's personal information, such as your Social Security number, especially in order to obtain money or credit. Has anybody ever filed their taxes and gotten a letter from the IRS that said, we're not taking your taxes, your Social Security number has already been used? Nobody in here. That's great. So around tax season, March, April, typically, the Wayland Police Department gets numerous calls every day from residents of the town because people's Social Security numbers have been used to file taxes, and they haven't filed them. So, however their Social Security numbers are taken, they're used by whomever to file taxes on their behalf, so that they get to be able to get working papers and things like that. So someone could steal my Social Security number and file taxes under their name under my name using their work history. Does everybody understand that? Yeah. So they also can use your name and date of birth, and a lot of things like this. Has anybody ever had a home equity line of credit? Yeah. So I have as well. And in a recent case, I realized and was informed that home equity lines of credit are public records. So someone can go onto the internet, access the database for the Registry of Deeds, and can go in and find the home equity lines of credit for Wayland, and get your name, your address, and then do a little more research on the internet and maybe get your date of birth somewhere. And then they do maybe a little more research and get your Social Security number somewhere. And then they can call that bank and say, this is Jamie Berger. My date of birth is this. My Social Security number is this. I live at this address. Can you send me new checks? I've moved to 123 Main Street in Anytown, Virginia. So now you're going to have checks made out to the real person, but with a different address. So banks fight this. So whenever someone calls a bank, have you ever called a bank and they give you a hard time verifying who you really are? I have. They make you jump through hoops sometimes.
Well, they ask you a lot of questions.
Yes, exactly. So if you're a bad guy or a bad girl and you're calling a bank, you need to have each of that information. So they call multiple times to these banks, and they might be able to get little tidbits of information each time they call. So if they call 20 times, and on 5 of those calls they get little tidbits of information, they could put it all together after the 20th call, say, and they can have a profile of you as a person. And so they can call a bank. And that's why it's so difficult and so hard, and why banks verify so much information, because they don't want to make sure, they want to make sure they're not giving your information out, or the ability to change their accounts with you. Okay. So, if any of these crimes happen, not just identity theft, but if any of these crimes that I've mentioned to you happen, if you get that phone calls from Publishers Clearinghouse, you're a winner, send us $500, we'll send you $2.5 million, call us. Okay? Remember the phone number, jot it down, call us. If you get a phone call saying, no, your computer has remote access software on it, it's out of date, we'll take care of it, send us a check, we'll give you new software, makes it good, and you don't think it's right, call us. We'll investigate, we'll help you, okay? So there, if any of this occurs to you, identity theft in particular, someone accesses your information, uses your information to open credit. Has anybody had gotten a letter from a bank saying, oh, you opened credit 6 months ago and ran up $3,000 and you haven't paid it? Has anybody gotten one of those letters? No? Okay. Well, that's great too. It happens all the time here. So if that were to occur, you get a letter in the mail saying, from Visa saying, oh, you opened an account 6 months ago and you owe us $18,000 that hasn't been paid yet, call us. We'll help you. So in addition to all of that, the 3 credit reporting bureaus are who you want to contact. If you're a victim of a fraud, identity theft, things like that, someone opened an account in your name, you want to call these 3 credit reporting agencies and report that there's been fraud using your information. So it's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And you want to tell them to put a fraud alert onto your account. So your Social Security number, has everybody pulled their credit report here in Massachusetts? So in Massachusetts, this law, every year you can pull a free credit report. Yep. So you can do that, and I encourage you to do that, just at least, if anything, to verify that the information in your credit report is just your information, not somebody else's, not somebody opened a car loan in your name, anything like that, okay? Yes?
Is there a phone number for that?
Yep, yep, so you can actually call all 3 of them.
Those there, but if for Massachusetts, is there an?
If you call them directly, and once you tell them you're in Massachusetts, it's free. Once a year, it's free. Okay.
Okay, great. Any other states have that too?
I don't know. Oh, can we put that back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to write that down, okay?
Yes.
I keep getting a call, no name, no number.
Don't answer it. It's not
I don't
me.
answer anything.
Yeah, I would not answer it. If you don't know the number or the name, don't answer it. Yes.
A while ago, there was a thing about one of those, I think it was Experian.
Yep.
And my son suggested that I put a block on it there, so I did. So I was to a store a couple of weeks ago, and they had some good things at a good price. So they said, oh, you want to open up a charge account? And I get 15% off.
Sure.
And all this stuff.
Yep.
So I said, okay.
Yep.
So we go through all the thing, and then they want to talk to me. They said that there was a block on my charge, so.
They wouldn't let it happen.
On my
Yep.
name there, so I couldn't open the charge.
Yep.
And then I got a letter from them explaining it and all that. And I said, Blaine, I don't really need that charge.
Yep.
I can live without the 15%
Sure.
off, it's a couple of dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yes.
If you get a call and you think it may be, this is from an agency, you think it may be real, what you should do is ask the person's name, ask their ID number for their job, and the phone number.
Yep.
When you get all that, then you can go up and call back. However, if they say, well, we can't give you the number, you know it's a fraud.
Sure.
But if they give you all this information, then you may say it may be true, and then you may call the number and ask for the supervisor, work it down. But if you ask those numbers 9 times out of 10, I just hang up.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to the 10th out of 10 in a second. When they do give you the number and it's still not legitimate.
Yeah.
Yes.
My memory is terrible. It's worse, it's always been bad.
Yep.
Now, but if somebody calls me and it's somebody I know, but I don't recognize their phone number right off the bat, I don't, they're looking for it, I don't answer it.
Yep.
My phone says there's a call on there. I pick it up and if it's legit, they'll leave a message and they say, I called you, call me back when you get a chance or whatever have you. Most of the time, it's, the recording comes on, end of call.
Yep.
You know, they,
Yep. All right. Everybody have those numbers? All right, great. So I think I touched on this a little bit, but if any new unauthorized credit has been opened in your name, you can call the security and fraud departments of that company. So say American Express calls me or sends me a letter saying, I owe $3,000 on a credit card bill that I never opened. I can call them and dispute it and tell them it was fraud, and I never opened that, and request it to be closed. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna be like, okay, we'll do that, but you need to go to your local police department and get a report reporting it as a fraudulent account. So you come down to the Wayland Police Department, whoop,
That's okay, I got plenty, I got them. Thank you.
so you can call the police department, we'll come to you, or you can come to us and we'll take a report of that.
Yeah.
And you can also call the ID Theft Clearinghouse, and the number's right there. So if you are a victim of identity theft, you can contact them, and they will assist you. That's a governmental agency. They will assist you on how to deal with credit issues like that. Does anybody want to take that number down? Okay. So in Wayland, our 2018 statistics kind of work like that. So identity theft is 44% of the cases that the Wayland Police Department Detective Unit deals with. 44% of the cases that are reported to us are identity theft. That is someone taking the identity of another person, social security number, name, date of birth, and opening up credit. So we get, a phone call, Mr. Smith who lives on Adelaide Ave saying, and I'm not sure if Mr. Smith is on Adelaide Ave, but saying someone used my information to open up a credit card. 41% is from credit card fraud or larceny. I went to the local gym, I put my stuff in the locker, I went and worked out, I went for a walk around the high school, I left my wallet in my car, someone broke into my car, stole my credit cards, went to Target, went to the Apple store, used my credit cards, and purchased $8,000 worth of computer equipment. Credit card fraud, larceny. And 15% is phone or internet scams. So that's someone getting an email saying, click here, or we want to update your software. This is how to do it. Those are the percentages of the crimes that we deal with. Okay? So, someone just said, I got this phone call from, a friend of mine, or it looked like his number, or it came from the town of Wayland, and I answered the phone, and it wasn't the town of Wayland. How does that happen? Or, I got a phone call from my grandson, but it wasn't my grandson's phone number, it was some other number, but I thought it was his number, I'm not sure. So how does that happen? So again, technology can be amazing, and when it's used for good things, that's great. But when it's used for bad things, not so good. So we call this spoofing. So phone numbers can be spoofed, email address can be spoofed, and that's when someone takes a phone number, could be the town of Wayland, 508, 358, whatever the last four of the exchange would be, and calls you, says, oh, this is Jamie Berger from the police department. The police department has a warrant for your arrest, but if you pay me $500, we'll just make it go away. again, I'm not gonna call you and look for $500, but that could be a spoof. Or it's a phone number that comes up, you don't know the number, but it says American Express on your caller ID. You know, I have a credit card at American Express, so I answer the phone. That type of thing. So that's what spoofing is, and again, there are apps, so like I have 2 smartphones. So if I have, how you use it, does everybody know how to use a smartphone?
No.
No. Okay, well, that's good, because I'd be lost without it, but unfortunately, so there are apps, so applications, so it's very similar to a computer. There's applications on here, and there are applications that you could actually spoof someone's phone number. So you just bring up the application, it's like a Facebook application, you know, anything, your bank, but this is just for changing phone numbers. You go in, you can punch a number that you want to call in there, and then you want the number to what it shows. So if you do a little research, the town of Wayland's phone number could be the number that you're calling from, and then 2 would be anybody. And so, yeah, 1 second. Let me get to this major point, and then.
Oh, you didn't have the answer right away.
Oh, true. So, again, we get those phone calls, oh, we think we might know that number, but we're not sure, but it says, oh, it's American Express, so we answer the phone. So then they know they have you on the hook a little bit at least, because they have the right person. So that's what spoofing is. And on emails, does everybody have a computer? Yeah, we all have computers nowadays, right? Because technology is everything. So people can change email addresses. So you think you're getting an email from Jamie Berger at the town of Wayland, when it's actually 1 letter off. And it's actually a fictitious email that they're sending out to mass people. So that's especially if you're getting emails from banks or financial institutions, or if you have like IRAs, retirement accounts, things like that, where you have a lot of your money. You want to make sure that you're actually getting an email from a legitimate email that somebody you know. Yes?
One thing,
I gotta stop you, she was first. Go ahead.
whatever you do, never email your social security number or your date of birth.
Yeah.
If you have to send something with those numbers on it, use a fax. Go to the fax store, but never email personal things, because you don't know who's gonna be
Yep.
taking it off.
Yep, there's one way we do email important information like that, dates of birth, social security number, things like that. We encrypt the emails. And financial institutions will certainly encrypt. So when I work with a bank on financial crimes that I deal with, I get an encrypted email from them all the time. So it's where I have to verify who I am. I have to enter my name. I have to enter my password, my phone number, things like that to identify me as being someone who should have gotten that email. Yes?
Well, I changed what I was going to say after what Mel said. It's very easy to find out when people's full birth dates are.
Yep.
Because I have called asking somebody who legally, they could tell me, but they were busy, and I went on the computer and I found the answer myself. Very easy.
Yep. Computers, again, technology, your information is out there and everybody can access it. So you need to be very careful what's out there and how to restrict that. Okay. So, I'm at the end. 50 minutes.
One question.
Yes.
You get a call from a number like 1001, United States.
Yep.
What is that?
So, there are certain agencies within the United States, like the district attorney's office, has a certain code that'll come up. It'll be like 7 and all zeros. Like if the district attorney's office calls me, I know it's them. Other than that, it could be other governmental agencies. It could be a variety of reasons. That's the only, the Secret Service I've gotten phone calls from, same thing. It would be like a different series of numbers. But the district attorney's office is a certain.
Here's what my point. The first time, or one time it's 1001, one time it's 1018, one time it's 1011.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have that great answer for you. I will tell you, don't answer it.
Oh, yeah, we don't, but
Yeah.
I'm saying it's prevalent. And
Yeah.
I was just wondering if anyone else is getting that type of phone?
I have not. I have gotten, the district attorney's office, when they call me, is a certain
They
series of.
don't leave a message either.
Right, yeah.
That's cool, no
Yep.
problem, thank
Yep.
you.
Anyone? Yes.
You may be more aware of asking for $5,000 or something, but there's a number of Me Too's out there. I'll give you an example. A few months ago, I was at my son's house in Staten Island, New York, and I was in the house alone. They were at work. The doorbell rang, and I went, and there was a woman at the door. And she says, I wonder if you could help me, please. She says, I'm from Bergen, New Jersey. She says, I'm coming over here to pick some stuff up for my daughter. And I ran out of gas. And I went to the gas station down the corner, and they wanted to give me gas, but I didn't have any money. And they want $32.50 for gas. And if you could loan me that, and my husband is going to be in this later on, and I'll get it back to you. I said, oh, wait a second, let me go get my coat, it's in the other room. Go like I would go to get my coat, I come back, she's gone.
Yeah.
She went up the street to the next place.
Yeah, yeah. They're trying to, get someone to help them, or
Yeah.
help them.
Well, right, at that particular time, gas was lower price, so the $32.50, whatever, was an unusual amount.
Sure. Yep. Does anybody else have any
I
questions?
got one.
Yes.
Last night about 7:30, I got your chief of police's office number,
Really?
town of Wayland. I didn't answer it, because I know he wasn't.
I wouldn't answer it either.
No.
Oh, this is recorded, I'm in trouble for that one.
That's why I didn't give you the number, or because I know it's being recorded.
Yeah.
It was his number.
Interesting.
How many people have actually seen their own name come up?
Yeah, that's,
Oh, yeah, you get calls from you too.
yeah. Yeah, it happens all the time. Anybody else? So I want to leave you with this last piece. If anybody ever has something like this happen and you question it, call the Wayland Police. We are here for you. Okay?
Thank you so very much.